Assuming you now know the basic behaviors that occur in small groups which contribute to task, maintenance, and individualistic roles, we'll break down each type of role individually, covering some of the most common types of roles in each of these categories. Keep in mind, however, that depending upon the textbook or the professor, the specific names for the roles may vary, but the essence is the same. Also recall that role-playing is a fluid process, meaning that during a single meeting, group members can play multiple roles. If you remember Hobbes and Powers' model, it will help you understand how you may switch back and forth between your different roles within the same group meeting and across the lifetime of the group. And also please remember that role-playing tends to be spontaneous, not scripted, most often an extension of the group member's personality. Finally, not all groups will have all of the roles that we'll discuss. With the possible exception of leader, no single informal role is found in all or even in most groups. Group members play the roles that are necessary to the specific groups or the roles that they've become accustomed to. As we go through these roles, let's use planning a party for your grandmother's birthday as an example. For a group to be productive, there are certain jobs or roles that have to be performed, such as someone has to offer information, someone has to clarify information, someone has to write up the notes, etc. First is the initiator contributor. This person starts things off or initiates the discussion, or may help change direction during the discussion by suggesting or proposing new ideas. In our example, this is the person who says, "We need to celebrate Grandma's birthday," or "Let's figure out what we need to do to make this a party to remember." Oftentimes, but not always, the initiator contributor is the leader, sometimes called the director. The information seeker asks for additional clarification, facts, or other information that helps the group understand the issues that are being discussed. If you ask questions like, "Would the party be better if it were held on the weekend?" or "What kind of music does Grandma like?" you would be playing the information seeker role. Some scholars group the information seeker and the opinion seeker roles together. If you are the opinion seeker, sometimes called the consensus tester, you are asking the other group members to share their opinions or to see if the opinions held by one person are shared by other group members. An opinion seeker might ask, "So it sounds like everyone wants to try for Saturday the 17th. Is that what everybody thinks?" The information giver role is the opposite of the information seeker, doing just what the name implies, providing information like relevant facts, examples, statistics, or other data that might inform the group in its task. If you offer information about how much it might cost to rent tables and/or chairs for the party, you are playing the information giver role. And just as some scholars link the information seeker and the opinion seeker roles together, some also link the information giver and the opinion giver roles together. The opinion giver offers his or her opinions or beliefs about the group discussion, such as, "Well, I don't think we have to go all out for this. I think Grandma would be satisfied with just cake and ice cream as long as we're all there." Much of the time, the discussion requires elaboration or clarification. When you say something like, "If we're talking about cake and ice cream, we could do something like the Jefferson family did when they," and you explain or clarify what you mean, you are the elaborator or clarifier. You can elaborate or clarify both what you mean and what you think others may mean. The Orienter, sometimes called the summarizer, reviews and clarifies the group's position while not adding anything new to the discussion. Let me make sure that we're all on the same page. We're talking about a simple party, just cake and ice cream, on Saturday the 17th at my house, with Janice in charge of creating the invitation, and so on. Another task role is the Evaluator Critic, sometimes called the questioner, who assesses the evidence and conclusions of the group, essentially analyzing the group's discussion and decisions. Do we really need to spend all that money on tables and chairs? A special type of evaluator critic is the devil's advocate, who intentionally challenges the group's ideas and points of view, not to be argumentative or block the group's progress, but to critically test and evaluate the strength of the group's ideas. Solutions, or decisions. Let me see what the downside of this approach is. This role may be assigned, or it may develop organically. After some time discussing the issue, the Expeditor, sometimes called the Energizer, might show up, prodding the group to action or decision, such as calling for a vote or, some scholars say, stimulating the group to greater productivity. A procedural technician handles tasks such as distributing reports, recording ideas on a whiteboard for everyone to see, making sure the meeting follows a particular structure such as Robert's Rules of Order, and so on. And finally, a recorder makes a written record of the group's progress. While task roles are focused on productivity, maintenance roles are focused on the group's identity and relationships. They help the group get along and feel cohesive. The encourager, also called the supporter, provides warmth to individuals, verbally or non-verbally. That's a great idea, Marcus. Not only helps Marcus feel good and encourages him to offer other ideas, it contributes to a supportive climate for the rest of the group. A harmonizer is concerned with managing conflict and mediating disputes amongst group members, trying to articulate the common elements in two or more views. To use a cliché, this person pours oil on troubled waters to smooth them out. Hold it. Janice and Maria, you both have some good points, and we can discuss this logically. The compromiser is focused on resolving conflicts by offering, what else? Compromise. Nick, you think the party should start at 7, while Lee is suggesting 8 o'clock. What if we split the difference and start at 7:30? When stress builds up and the group needs to take a break or let off steam, that's when the tension reliever steps up, often using humor to diffuse the situation. If the group purpose itself is stressful, the tension reliever might bring snacks to the meeting to create a more relaxed atmosphere. Related to the tension reliever is the Dramatizer or Storyteller, who makes the meeting fun by telling stories that are interesting or amusing without taking the group off track. The emotion or feeling expressor puts into words how the group may be feeling, such as, I know we're all tired and frustrated right now. Some groups have a group observer who provides feedback to the group on how it is functioning or not functioning. There are two more group roles that most scholars include in maintenance, but depending upon context could be classified as task. The first is follower. Obviously, task can't get done if everyone is the leader or fighting to be the leader. The cliché, too many chiefs and not enough Indians, comes to mind. The work has to get done, so you need followers who work, making it a task role. Followers, however, grant power to the leader. Without this granting of power, the relationships in the group could suffer, the groups are not able to work on the task, and a lot of time, energy, and tension is spent establishing who is in charge and the direction of the group. So let's say I'm used to leading groups, but someone else is the designated leader or wants to be the leader. By understanding that the group climate would suffer if I push for the leader role, I instead decide to step back and, by accepting and supporting the ideas of others, I choose to be a follower for the good of the group, then I'm playing the follower as a maintenance role. Constructive followers create the glue that allows work to get accomplished, contributing to cohesion. Now the second role is gatekeeper. According to systems theory, a gatekeeper opens and closes the gates to let information or people in or out of the group, making it a task role. But a gatekeeper can also monitor the group to see who is and who is not participating, and then limiting those who are dominating the discussion while encouraging those who may be reluctant to contribute. So you can see why scholars classify it as a maintenance role. By making sure that all are heard, as well as maintaining the relationships in the group, the gatekeeper allows the work, the task, to get accomplished. Perhaps the most interesting observation about these maintenance roles is that they are almost invisible to the group if the group is working well. Yet they are imperative for a group to create and maintain the necessary climate to get the work done. Now, if you are playing an individualistic role, you are putting your needs ahead of the group needs, in essence, letting your individual needs trump the needs of the group. These types of roles hinder or interfere with the group's process and progress. Oftentimes, an individualistic role is a task role or maintenance role that has been taken too far. The first of these, the Dominator, attempts to take over the group and control all discussions, frequently talking over others and displaying threatening, intimidating, and bullying behaviors. While you don't have to be the leader to dominate a group, sometimes the leader's personality results in this type of behavior. The aggressor, sometimes called the fighter, degrades other group members and their ideas, and may decide to take credit for other group members' work. Simon, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard, especially when you consider the fabulous idea I brought up yesterday. The blocker is uncooperative, a dominant personality who immediately shuts down other people's views for no apparent reason, saying things like, I just don't like it and I don't have to tell you why. Very similar is the cynic, who is pessimistic or questions everything, perhaps an evaluator, critic, or devil's advocate role gone bad. The recognition seeker, also called the stagehog, wants to be in the spotlight and may brag about his or her accomplishments or tell stories that put him or her in a positive light, taking the group's attention away from the task at hand for long periods at a time. The joker, also called the clown or the playboy or playgirl, treats group meetings as fun time and a way to get out of real work, distracting other people by telling jokes or playing pranks, a tension reliever role gone awry. While all group members are encouraged to keep the group interesting by disclosing information about themselves and relating appropriate stories, the self-confessor goes well beyond the dramatizer storyteller maintenance role and uses the group as an audience to report his or her personal feelings, insights, and observations, not connected to the group work, but about him or herself. A special interest pleader is someone who has a pet project or a personal agenda and is constantly trying to recruit the group to include that agenda item in the group project. Some scholars call this the zealot role, with the zealot often trying to take the group back to earlier conversations and decisions about the issue, hoping to get a reversal of opinion, or wants to continue discussing his or her favorite topic. An isolate is someone who withdraws from the group, physically by missing meetings, or psychologically, by declining to get involved in group discussions. Sometimes called a withdrawer, the isolate could be a follower who really doesn't do anything. And some members play the help seeker, or dependent, making excuses as to why he or she can't do something, often looking for sympathy in the process. Quiz time! What are some of the task roles that you see occurring most frequently in the groups you are involved with? How does an individualistic role differ from a task or maintenance role? And which roles do you tend to play most often in a group? Pay attention to these roles because you might unknowingly be playing an individualistic role. Baseball Hall of Famer Casey Stengel summed up the difficulty of managing the various roles that occur in groups, those that help the group be productive and cohesive, and those that distract or hinder group performance, when he said, "Getting good players is easy. Getting them to play together is the hard part."